Hi friends, today we'll discuss about the anatomy of submandibular gland. Please subscribe to my channel Anatomy for Everyone, and you should subscribe for regular updates. Press bell icon for the notification so that you don't miss any videos on anatomy and you don't miss learning during this lockdown. And as you can see here, that is submandibular gland, one of the salivary glands. Yesterday we have discussed about the pituitary gland. Today we are seeing the submandibular gland. As the name itself says, it is just below the mandible. You can see here in this video, on the side of the mandible you are seeing the pituitary gland around the ear, whereas below and medial to the mandible you are seeing submandibular gland. You can see here, it is located in the digastric triangle, one of the subdivisions of the anterior triangle of neck. Can see here, as you isolate, you will see below and medial to the mandible, in the mandibular fossa of the body of the mandible. It is walnut shaped in appearance, but we can say it is J shaped, as you can see here, the pair of submandibular glands on either side of the medial surface of the body of the mandible in submandibular fossa below mylohyoid line, and you can see it is a J shaped gland. You are seeing the right submandibular gland here. It is roughly J shaped, having a large superficial part and a smaller deep part, and this gland hooks around the posterior border of the mylohyoid muscle located in the digastric triangle. You can see there. What are the boundaries of digastric triangle? Antero-inferiorly anterior belly of digastric, postero-inferiorly posterior belly of digastric, stylohyoid muscle, whereas the roof in anatomical position, the roof is formed by mylohyoid and hyoglossus, and this gland hooks around the posterior free border of mylohyoid muscle. As you have already seen, the mylohyoid muscle forms an anterior median raphe forming the roof of the submental triangle. Here you are seeing the right side submandibular gland and its relations here. It is hooking around the posterior free border of mylohyoid muscle. If you isolate these structures here, we are just taking the boundaries of the digastric triangle, and you can see here the gland lodges here as if you are holding an open book. Both of your thumbs are on the upper surface of the book, whereas the remaining 4 fingers will be below the book. Like that, it is lodging into the free posterior border of mylohyoid, which divides the gland into larger superficial part and smaller deep part. So larger superficial, smaller deep, but both are continuous with each other behind the posterior border of mylohyoid muscle, and some part of the gland is encroaching on the upper surface, that is a smaller deep part, whereas the large superficial part is lying below and lateral to the muscle. You can appreciate here, this is the large superficial part, the arrow is depicting the large superficial part, and you are seeing smaller deep part. Both are continuous with each other, and when you see here, when you see the digastric triangle, you are only appreciating the large superficial part, and sometimes it will be huge. This superficial part will be huge, covering the entire submandibular triangle or digastric triangle here. And when you see the large superficial part, it is triangular in cut section. It is triangular in cut section, and it presents 3 surfaces and 2 ends. 3 surfaces are the lateral, inferior and medial. 2 ends are anterior and posterior. What is the arrow is showing? This is the inferior surface, where it is in relation with the skin and superficial fascia, where you go and feel the gland below and medial to mandible. Whatever the part of the gland you feel, that is the inferior surface, and whatever the part of the superficial this part is medial, that is related to mylohyoid muscle. So you can see lateral surface and inferior surface. This is the medial surface which is in relation with the mylohyoid muscle, that is the medial surface. So the lateral surface is in relation with the mandible bone, inferior surface is in relation with the skin, medial surface with the mylohyoid muscle. The anterior end and posterior end, anterior end is free, whereas posterior end is in continuation with the smaller deep part. So when you see this large superficial part and inferior surface, it is enclosed by the deep fascia. The investing layer of deep cervical fascia splits here to enclose the large superficial part, which is a triangular in cross section, and you can see the smaller deep part. It again has a medial surface and lateral surface, anterior end and posterior end. You can see here. So anterior end is related to this branches of facial vessels, submental vessels. Those are the facial vessels or facial artery and common facial vein. You can see that, and you can see the gland is related to the submental vessels. Submental artery is a branch of facial artery, and you can see how the investing layer is related to the large superficial part. It will split to enclose the gland. You can see there, and also the superficial part is mainly related to facial vessels posteriorly also, and along the lateral surface you can see the S-shaped loop there. And here in this diagram you can see the deep fascia splitting to enclose the large superficial part. Anterior end is related to the submental vessels and anterior of digastric, whereas the posterior end is related to these facial vessels, stylomandibular ligament, nothing but a thickened part of this investing layer of deep cervical fascia. Facial vessels are related there, and this posterior end is also related to the several structures. But here you are seeing inferior surface. Inferior surface is related to skin, superficial fascia, then deep fascia, which is splitting there, and you can see the submandibular lymph nodes there. This is the superficial fascia filled with fat. Then you can take out here, you will appreciate those are the submandibular lymph nodes related to the gland, and you can see the investing layer of deep fascia, common facial vein and facial artery. Facial artery is mainly related to lateral surface, but you can see common facial vein is related to the inferior surface here. Those are the submandibular lymph nodes. You can see in pink, the arrow is showing they are connected to buccal lymph nodes. So submandibular lymph nodes are there. What are the relations of inferior surface? Skin, superficial fascia containing this common facial vein, and then deep fascia, submandibular lymph nodes. These are the relations. Whereas the lateral surface is related to the medial surface of the body of the mandible, facial vessels. You can see there, facial artery is related there. Common facial vein is related to inferior surface, whereas lateral surface is related to the loop, S-shaped loop of the facial artery there, and this medial pterygoid muscle. You can appreciate there. Whereas the posterior end is related to the posterior belly of digastric, stylohyoid, stylopharyngeus, and loop of hypoglossal nerve and facial vessels. Whereas the medial surface is related to mylohyoid muscle, because mylohyoid is the one which is dividing into superficial and deep. So the medial surface of the superficial part is related to mylohyoid muscle anteriorly, whereas posteriorly as you go it is related to lingual nerve, loop of hypoglossal nerve, stylohyoid muscle, stylopharyngeus, posterior belly of digastric, and also middle constrictor of pharynx. The arrow was showing middle constrictor of pharynx there. These are the relations of the medial surface, what you appreciate here. And coming to the smaller deep part, if you see, these are the relations of the medial surface. Medial surface, anteriorly it is related to mylohyoid muscle, whereas as you go posteriorly it is related to nerves. And here comes the relation of smaller deep part. It lies between two muscles and two nerves. You can remember rule of 2 for smaller deep part. Above it is related to the lingual nerve, and below it is related to hypoglossal nerve. That is a smaller deep part, what arrow is showing. So above lingual nerve, below hypoglossal nerve, medially hyoglossus, whereas laterally mylohyoid. So you can see here, it lies between the two nerves, above and below, and lies between two muscles, medially and laterally. So you can see, vertically it is between two muscles, horizontally between two muscles. So medially hyoglossus muscle, laterally mylohyoid muscle, superiorly what you see, that is lingual nerve. Lingual nerve is a branch of posterior division of mandibular nerve, whereas inferiorly it is related to hypoglossal nerve, loop of hypoglossal nerve. So these are the relations of deep part. You can see that the pinkish structure, that is the loop of hypoglossal nerve. Now this is lingual, medially hyoglossus, laterally mylohyoid. So you can see mylohyoid forms the lateral surface of deep part, medial surface of superficial part. So because it is wedging into the gland, dividing it into superficial and deep part. Whereas submandibular duct, also called as Wharton duct, which is 5 cm in length, it takes origin from the, or it comes from the anterior end of the deep part and opens into the sublingual papillae. Both the ducts, right and left, open on either side of the frenulum linguae when you reflect the tongue, the ventral surface, and is crossed by the lingual nerve. Sensory branch coming from the posterior division of mandibular nerve. Please go and see the video on infotemporal fossa dissection and animation. You will come to know that. You can see lingual nerve, how it is crossing. First it lies above, then goes below, then again crossing the gland from lateral to this duct from lateral to medial side. You can see there. And coming to the nerve supply of this submandibular gland. So it's an exocrine gland. It should have a parasympathetic supply, because parasympathetic is secretomotor to this exocrine glands. So it is supplied by submandibular ganglion, one of the 4 ganglions of the head and neck. It takes the preganglion fibers coming from suprasalivary nucleus, facial nerve, chord tympani, lingual nerve, then submandibular ganglion, then reach the submandibular gland via 2 rootlets. You can see the rootlets there. From the postganglionic parasympathetic fibers, secretomotor fibers coming from ganglion, they come via these 2 rootlets, whereas for sublingual gland they reach via lingual nerve only. For sublingual gland, lingual nerve carries both pre and postganglionic fibers, whereas for this submandibular gland, pre is by lingual nerve, post is by rootlets. Sympathetic is vasomotor and thick secretion, parasympathetic is for watery secretion. So this is about the nerve supply. Blood supply is always from the facial vessels. That's it. Thank you.